All right, I think we can go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to our 8th annual Food Policy Council public forum, our second one virtually. Farm to institution purchasing, how do we increase sales? So we're going to start with a little bit of a tech check-in. As Giselle mentioned, entering your name and pronouns into on your video square by hovering above the 3 dots and clicking on it and then selecting rename. Invite y'all to do that. We are recording tonight's event and we will be posting it on the Johnson County Food Policy Council webpage. We also have live captions available for English captions. Select on your Zoom menu live transcript and then select show subtitles. For Arabic and Spanish subtitles or captions, select the link in the chat that April-captions just sent out. And it will open up another web page, and then you'll be able to select a drop-down menu for either of those languages. We're going to be using the chat today for all questions for tech and for our panelists. And so we're going to start with a test chat question. I invite everyone to type into the chat, what is your favorite local food for June? Yeah, either favorite food generally or specifically one that you can get locally.
Ayman, do you want to say in Arabic if anyone needs translation?
Ayman, you're on mute.
Yeah, I'm Ayman. I'm available whenever translation is needed.
Awesome.
In Arabic. Yeah. To be specific.
Thank you so much, Ayman. All right, so today we're going to, I'm going to do a quick run through of our forum agenda. We're starting with a welcome and introduction of about the Food Policy Council. Then we're going to talk about farm to institution purchasing generally. Then we'll have our guest speaker panel, followed by breakout groups for further discussion and public input. And then we're going to circle back after those breakout groups for a large group discussion and invite you all to please fill out our feedback form that we have for the event today. And Cassidy, I don't know if you have that handy to go ahead and link in the chat right now. Encourage y'all, even if you have to leave early, to please fill out this form to give us feedback for current and future, or for future events, and also any current input you have. And with that, I'll hand it off to our board liaison, John Green.
Thank you, Elsa. Good afternoon, good evening, whichever it may be, and welcome again to the Johnson County Food Policy Council's 8th annual public forum. This year, considering the important question, how to increase sales of farm to institution purchasing. As Elsa said, my name is John Green, and I am a member of the Johnson County Board of Supervisors, as well as the present board liaison to this council. Organized in 2012, the Food Policy Council is celebrating its 10th year of vital work here in Johnson County, and I want to thank everyone on the council now and in the past decade. The Johnson County Board of Supervisors recognizes that everyone eats, and so everyone is a part of our food system. We see the importance of a robust, sustainable, and local food system that better meets the needs of everyone in our communities. I'm personally grateful for the work that the council undertakes and I'm glad to support it. Looking specifically at the council purpose, what we're working on tonight is dialogue and discussion, and hopefully this is empowering for all of you who are participating tonight and watching. But hopefully it helps the council become better informed so that they can bring feedback to us on the Board of Supervisors, but also to our municipal partners, community boards, local agencies, etc. So, you know, this is one step in helping inform all of the important work that we are all doing together. And so I thank you for your attendance tonight. I'm also very excited to hear from our speakers. There are many potential opportunities for us to engage with our local food systems, and institutional settings is a big one. As we've all recognized, especially during the pandemic crisis, a resilient and local approach is necessary to ensure that we all remain well fed. Iowa has the potential and concordant responsibility to serve our own folks right here, as well as we serve the export, biofuel, and industrial markets. And with that, welcome. I'm sure we'll all learn a lot tonight, and I want to thank each and every one of you for your attendance.
All right, so thank you so much, John Green, and congratulations on the election last night. Excited to have you in office for a bit longer with us here. So who is the Food Policy Council? We are a 15-member board appointed by the Board of Supervisors here in the county. And we have folks from all different sectors within the food system. So currently we have farmers, landowners, land access experts, community outreach folks, people who are nonprofit workers, policy wonks, people working in community-based projects on food access. And we're always looking for more members. We're recruiting right now, so accepting applications through June 13th. Please help us spread the word. Next slide. So thank you again to all of our policy members. Everyone on the council is a volunteer. So all the work that we do is done by these generous and brilliant leaders in our community who offer their time to help build a more resilient and just food system. And they'll be on the call all night. So you'll get to meet them and be in breakout rooms with them, hopefully, to get to know them a bit better. We went through a process within the last couple of years where we're really centering on our core values. We want our food system to be community-based, equitable, and resilient. And I think these words are going to come up quite a bit during our panel discussion today. So I'm really excited to see how these values fit into the work of our topic. Now, right now we are hosting this annual forum. As Ilsa mentioned, this is our second virtual annual forum. The others have taken place in the past around specialty crop producers, land access, and we hosted a roundtable event earlier about creating transformative narratives within our food system earlier this year. Next slide. So you can find all of our policy recommendations and actions over the history of the council on our website. Here are some examples: supporting small poultry processing, looking at how we support producers who are doing agritourism. That was a lot of work working on that Unified Development Ordinance. And most recently, the American Rescue Plan Act was recommended by the board to allocate $200,000 for local food initiatives. So look forward to that money coming out in the next coming years, starting next month potentially. So we have, again, our working members are trying to look at what the community needs are, getting out, talking to people, attending community meetings, seeing what kind of infrastructure we have, and supporting our goals to shape our food system and support local producers, small businesses, and the people who eat in our community every day. So today, our topic is farm to institution. How do we increase sales? So wanted to take a moment to just talk a bit about what do we mean when we're talking about institutions. Some folks are experts and some folks might be new to this topic. So I want to take a moment to break down what we mean when we say institutional purchasing. So when we're talking about community institutions, we're referring to institutions or places where thousands of people in our community are eating every day. So this can include schools, K through 12, and early care, as well as universities and colleges. We're talking about hospitals, retirement communities, prisons, and more. And this is a really critical piece of our food system infrastructure, because not only is it a place where sometimes the most marginal people in our communities are accessing healthy, nutrient-dense, fresh food, but it's also places that have a lot of purchasing power within our local food economy. So what is farm to institution? What are we talking about? So a lot of us buy from local farmers through a CSA, through a farmer's market, through grocery stores, through home delivery services and online markets. But when we're purchasing, when farmers are selling to institutions, typically that farmer is oftentimes working through some kind of a central distribution. So in the sort of standard model, we're looking at bigger box stores. In the local model, we're looking more at food hubs. So essentially, we have a food hub who's going to share more about how all of this works, but we have these links that are connecting various small producers to these wholesale buyers. Now, next slide. Now, there was a case study, and we're going to get into some of the policy implications of this and some of the ways that investment works and some of the nitty gritty of how that value chain works. But for right now, I just want to touch on a case study from 2020. So after the pandemic hit, and John Green mentioned this, that COVID has taught us a lot about our global food supply chain. Well, many people were looking to get more food, and so there was funding provided through the Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship to try to help schools do more local procurement. So the funding went to K through 12 schools, farmers, and food hubs. And there was a lot of success that we saw through this, and Teresa is probably going to talk more about this. You can see James, who's another one of our panelists who's featured in this report. But just thinking about the ways in which funding like this through the state can really build up our local food system. And over half of those sales were purchased through a food hub. So this was an opportunity to see what that kind of investment can do for our local food system to connect kids to more locally produced food. There was a recent report published in Yale that we're going to link in the chat box from another food hub manager across the state, really looking at some of these really high system level issues between our common, or the sort of this like industrial food system, the global food supply chain model that we have, and then this local food system model. So I really encourage you to either listen to it on YouTube or take a look at the report. But it looks at the difference between this bigger, less resilient centralized model that we're used to and a local regional model that has more resiliency and flexibility. So when something like a pandemic comes up or a big fire happens in a meatpacking plant, food hubs and small regional entities and producers can really rise to that challenge and adapt really quickly. They also noted that investment in food hubs returns a 4-to-1 investment. So for every $1 that you're going to invest in a food hub, you're going to get $4 back into the local economy. So try to go through that very quickly. And now we get to hear from Emily Roberts, who is a food hub manager here in Johnson County. Emily,
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much, Giselle. It was a great introduction to institutional procurement. Like Giselle said, I am with Field to Family, an operations manager here. I'm excited to be a part of this vital conversation surrounding procurement of local food. Through these next few slides, I hope you'll learn a little bit more about how Field to Family participates in this intricate growing web of connections that serve the eaters of our community. We have the support of many who help the organization thrive. As a nonprofit, we operate under the supervision of our board of directors, and the Johnson County Board of Supervisors is also a huge supporter of our work. We have partnered with the city of Iowa City, notably on the creation of our online farmers market in response to the pandemic. Field to Family is all about local food, education about it, enhancing health by choosing it, and expanding its access. We aim to reach customers through our sales channels and children through our work with schools. We founded our food hub in 2018 in partnership with the Food Policy Council and the Board of Supervisors. Pressure on local farmers can be immense, and food hubs can alleviate some of that by helping with the storage, aggregation, delivery, and marketing of their products. Customers who want a wide variety and or a large quantity of local food can shop with Field to Family efficiently with one delivery and one invoice, even if their order contains products from many different sources. The online market is an important aspect of our model, namely from an access standpoint. It was born from the pressure that the pandemic put on all of us to avoid crowded events, but now it serves those who have mobility issues, time constraints, or prefer delivery of local products. A food hub could not exist without the relationships we have with our farmers and customers. It takes time and constant contact to create connections filled with trust and positivity. Producers put a lot of themselves into what they grow, and it's important for them to know that we'll be good stewards of their products. Our infrastructure is another important feature of Field to Family's food hub. Our warehouse in Pepperwood Plaza is equipped with the capacity to store dry goods, refrigerated products, as well as frozen food. We have one refrigerated van to make institutional deliveries with, in addition to access to a fleet that our neighbor Table to Table shares with us on a generous rental scheme. So this includes an additional 10 vehicles, one of which is a 24-foot box truck in case we're dealing with like pallets of food. As we grow, infrastructure is one aspect of our organization that takes continuous attention and maintenance. We aim to build up all farmers in our area, whether they partner with us or not. Our local food and farm guide is available to anyone who would like to learn more about where to go for food grown in our community. When you think of a food hub, you can associate it with food safety. We adhere to strict cleaning logs and temperature controls to ensure quality for our customers. Field to Family sources from farmers who produce within a 100-mile radius. There are caveats to this simple rule, one of which includes the items procured from partnering food hubs in Harlan and Decorah, Iowa. Oftentimes they have access to products that are not found within our radius, so an attitude of as local as possible applies in these scenarios. There's a wide variety of farmers, some who only provide wholesale quantities, some who are just starting out and prefer direct-to-consumer markets, and others who do both. One of Field to Family's missions is to increase demand for local food so that many farmers are encouraged to scale up, grow their operations, and fulfill institutional orders. We serve two types of customers, institutional buyers like K-12 schools, universities, food pantries, and restaurants. Then we also have our online market where any household can log onto our storefront to purchase their seasonal fare each week. The products we offer are plentiful and varied. We built our model on produce like leafy greens, root veggies, fruits, cucumbers, could go on and on. But since then, we've built a market where these local goods can also be incorporated into value-added items like baked goods and energy drinks. Our storefronts also feature milled grains, dairy, meat, and tofu. Last year, we reached at least 31 institutional customers with products from 26 local growers to generate $250,000 in wholesale sales. We're happy to report that our growth from 2021 increasing dramatically for farm to school procurement at a rate of 65%. And next slide, this is my last one. So I'll wrap up my portion here. We would love your support. You can create an account at fieldtofamily.org to shop our online market. It operates on a weekly schedule where you can start shopping on Monday and carts close on Tuesday. From there, we'll assemble your order to specification and distribution occurs on Thursday starting at 3. Additionally, please shoot me an email if you're interested in volunteering. Our greatest needs are on Thursdays. It's a great way to connect with others who are valuing a sustainable food system. Thank you so much for your participation in this event. Really honored to be a part of it.
Thank you, Emily. Good evening, everyone. My name is Hannah Schultz. I am the Outreach and Events Chair for the Food Policy Council, and I am so excited to be moderating this panel discussion. We have some really amazing panelists, and I'm excited to hear from them in just a minute. Before jumping in, I want to share the format of the panel with you all. So I'm going to start the conversation off asking our panelists a few questions, and then we're going to have plenty of time for questions from you all. We're going to use the chat for that. So if you brought questions, feel free to drop those in now or whenever you have them, or when those light bulbs go off during the conversation, please drop those in. Our panelists today are from diverse parts of the food system. I'm going to ask each of the panelists to introduce themselves, and I'm going to start with Teresa Wiemerslage. So Teresa, please share where you're joining us from, what your connection is to the topic at hand, and your why. Why is this an important topic for you, and why should it be an important topic for all of us?
Good evening, everyone. I am coming to you from extreme Northeast Iowa, 4 miles from the Minnesota border. Our family raises cattle on the hills in Almaquee County. I have worked for ISU Extension and Outreach for over 20 years, first as a county director, and for the last 12 years, I've been specializing in food system work. This piece is really where my passion lies. I grew up as a child of the 80s farm crisis and watched what that did to family farms. So when I found my farmer here in Northeast Iowa, I wanted to make sure that our kids were going to be able to continue and be the 5th generation. That's still to be determined. They're off to college and spreading their wings as 20-year-olds. So we'll see how that goes, but that's what really drives me in this work. I have my fingers in a lot of different things in my role with Extension. I'm sure we're talking about food hubs. I was a founding member of the Iowa Food Hub, which is now based in Decorah. That food hub was created specifically to reach institutional markets, farm to school in Northeast Iowa. And the other hats that I wear in the food system alongside the farm to school procurement is food safety for farms. I help with their farm audits, because that's another barrier. And figuring out how can food hubs be the piece that makes all these connections.
Thanks, Teresa. It sounds like, given your long history in agriculture and your history in food hubs, I'm excited to hear from you as we get going in the conversation today. Marlie, I'm going to turn it over to you. So Marlie Wilson, where are you joining us from? What's your connection to this topic, and why? Why is it important to you, and why should it be important to us?
Hi, everybody. Yes, I'm Marlie Wilson. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Good Food Purchasing Project Manager with the Chicago Food Policy Action Council, and I'm joining you from Chicago, Illinois. And thank you so much for having me on this panel. I'm so excited to be amongst old friends and new ones to talk about something I'm extremely passionate about. I used to live in Des Moines and supported the Food Corps Iowa program for 2 years, and had a chance to work closely with Des Moines Public Schools on farm to institution work, as well as support efforts that were happening all across the state. So still have a big piece of my heart in Iowa. And then I worked on farm to institution with the Wisconsin Department of Ag Trade and Consumer Protection before moving to Chicago 4.5 years ago to work on the Illinois Farm to School Network, and then on the good food purchasing policy implementation with the city of Chicago and Cook County government. And I'll talk a little bit more about that, I'm sure, throughout the presentation, what I'm working on now. But I have committed my professional career to farm to institution because I fundamentally believe that the sites that feed community, our early care centers, our schools, our senior living facilities and senior Meals on Wheels programs, our hospitals, they should be sites that nourish and celebrate food and care for our community members. They should be sites of collective care where all can get a culturally relevant, healthy, delicious meal to eat. And they should be sites that are reinvesting in the community and building that resiliency and equity and sustainability in our food system so that we can continue to celebrate food far into the future in these collective care sites, right? And unfortunately, that's not necessarily what we think about when we think about institutional food. We think about, very sanitized environments or, food that gets pretty bad rap. And, that's not for, that's not unwarranted in a lot of cases, right? Unfortunately, our institutional food system has been developed over, especially the last, I would say 4 decades, to prioritize the cheapest price point over quality, over the impact that that product will have on the local community or, those that are eating the food. And so I think, I've really felt compelled to do what I can to help prove that there's another cafeteria is possible, one that really inspires all of us to celebrate food and connect with our community, connect with, build relationships across the food supply chain and across the food system. And that's what keeps me going in this work, because there are so many glimmers of hope of people doing things differently, like the people on this call. So thank you again for having me join the panel.
Thank you, Marlie. Another cafeteria is possible might be my favorite line of the day. So that just makes my activist heart go pitter patter. So thank you for that. We met Marlie. Well, Marlie knows many people on the Food Policy Council through her work with Food Corps Iowa and some of her other work, but we met Marlie when she presented to our Food Policy Council a few months ago. We are always looking for guests to come to our meeting. So if you know anyone or if you'd like to present to us, please be in touch and we can look into that. James, I am going to turn to you next. Will you introduce yourself to our attendees here?
Yeah, hi, my name is James Nisly, and I own Organic Greens, Highway.
James, we're having a really hard time hearing you, so I think we're going to come back to you. I'm going to see if Michael can jump in now and introduce himself.
Yeah, Hannah, thank you. My name is Michael Graham. I'm the retail chef at the University of Iowa Housing and Dining. I've coming to you here from our home in Iowa City. I've been a chef at the University of Iowa since 2008. And I've been working in food service, mostly hotels, before I joined the university. So large scale banquets, catering, hotels for over 25 years now. And that's kind of difficult for me to say out loud. But it's something that I really love and I have a great time doing it. When I joined the University of Iowa as a chef, I had no idea what it would take me to and change my perspective on a lot of things. Marlie talked about a different kind of cafeteria. And in collegiate dining, we have to have a different kind of cafeteria. Our students that are our customers are more savvy and more knowledgeable about food than they've ever been. Things have changed in my industry greatly over the last 5 to 10 years. They want to know the story of the food that they're eating. We try to source local as much as we can. We'll talk a little bit about that in some of the questions, but the cafeterias that Marlie is looking for, they're on a lot of college campuses, and it's really exciting to have the kind of support and accessibility to the kind of products that we like to serve here in Iowa City and Johnson County especially. So yeah, that's kind of my why. We've seen so much change over the last 2 years. And I start to think about when we see the effects of climate change and fires and droughts and stuff, where we get our produce from on a broadband scale, we need to be thinking in the future about how we're going to get that locally. So thank you very much for having me, and I'm excited to speak to some questions and learn from everyone else as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. James, let's try to go back to you. Your sound might be a little bit better if you don't turn your video on. So could you try just talking with us without the video?
Yeah, how's that?
You sound much better.
Okay, good. Yeah, my name is James Nisly. I'm in Kelowna, and I own Organic Greens. And it's also a food hub where I aggregate a lot of produce, dairy products, meat products from probably 20 to 25 different growers and producers, and market and distribute those. And I guess I grew up on a small hobby farm, and so homegrown food and produce, fruits and vegetables, very familiar to me. And and I just have a belief in, you know, the nutritional value of you know, fresh food that's grown in really good soil. And so, you know, what drives me is just the nutritional value and the understanding that our own personal health is very much connected to what we eat and how we eat. And besides the fact that it really supports local rural economies, it's to me, it's just the right thing to do.
Thank you, James. So I'm going to start out with the first question is going to be for Michael, and then I'll turn it over to James. So how have new and some ongoing disruptions, I'm thinking the COVID-19 pandemic, inflation, climate change, how have these disruptions impacted the way institutions think about purchasing from local producers?
It's a great question. I think it's a really powerful question because we have mouths to feed in our marketplaces, in our retail outlets, and we have to have something, you know, we have to have a good variety of items, and we need to be able to find good variety, good quality. We, in our department, at our institution, we have to be conscious of price, but we're not afraid to spend a little more on a select number of items if it means it's going to be better quality, fresher, local. We can tell a story with it. The supply chain issues of the past year have been truly just a nightmare to manage. But we've been really lucky in some aspects to be able to have a relationship with Field to Family, and we also have a relationship with James and a couple other producers that are hyper local right here in Iowa City, that it has been easy for us just to pick up a phone and say, we're going to have this problem with this specific item. Is there something we can do or something we can source from one of the farmers or someone that you know, and be able to do that? And we can book it in advance. We can say, this is what we're going to need. And then it shows up at our dock every week. So the disruptions are very real. They're very sporadic. It's not always the same thing. So the things that we can control by buying local and using the food hub, it's tremendous.
Thanks, Michael. James, do you have an answer for us?
Well, yeah, I've noticed a definite uptick in demand from several local institutions. You know, part of that was because of supply chain issues, but also one of my higher education customers told me that their student body is demanding, you know, more healthy, fresh food that is sustainably produced. And so that's really what has driven that, is the student body is really, you know, like demanding it.
I love hearing from both of you the demand from your students, or from students. You know, we often think of demand as being the purchaser, but hearing that the people the purchaser are feeding are also demanding that the food is locally grown and has a story behind it is wonderful. So that's great to hear. Thank you both for sharing. Michael, I see you unmuted. Did you have another response before we move on to our next question?
No, I think it's just to reiterate, like anyone in the food industry, the customers are more knowledgeable than they've ever been. The kids that we have today at the university, the students, they've grown up going out to eat at restaurants because people are cooking less at home, right? And so that carries through. They know what they want, and they're okay to wait for it and get what they want.
I'm going to open up this next question for any one of our panelists. How can
Hannah?
Yeah.
Can I just add?
Sure.
Just another perspective. In many ways, I feel like the pandemic has really shown a spotlight and highlighted what is really good about the local food system. You know, here in Northeast Iowa, we have several strong school districts as well as Luther College. Supply chain issues are real, like Michael and James have said. Farmers are feeling the crunches with fuel prices, seed prices, all of those things. But at the same time, when you have good established relationships with the institutions, there's some really good things happening when they say, hey, can you find us a source for local eggs, liquid eggs? So we've been able to make some switches there. We've been able to make some progress on finding a source of local oats, because that's another product that's not just an Iowa shortage, that one's national shortage because of the drought last year. Our proteins are becoming more competitive in the institutional market. And then when COVID shut everything down, the the food hubs and the farmers were able to be really flexible and creative with the packaging and repackaging items so that things could get distributed quickly. So I think a lot of people think, COVID certainly was a game changer for a lot of things, but I tend to land on the side that it actually maybe was a good thing for some of the food system work that we wanted to make progress on.
Thank you, Teresa. So I think that the next question I might kick off with you, Teresa, and then if we have other panelists who want to jump in, you're welcome to. How can growers and purchasers work together to ensure that supply and demand align? And if you have any examples of success, I'd love to hear those as well. You mentioned relationships that you have, and by building on those relationships, you can fulfill needs. So what does it take to build these successful partnerships and relationships between grower, producer, food hub, producer?
Yeah, so I'm going to totally steal James's quote, because when he gets asked this question, he'll say the issue is demand. There are places in the state where there is enough supply. We just don't have institutions buying enough. And I really think that is the first hurdle we have to get through, is just getting people to buy more. Then we can start talking about, contracts and scaling and those sorts of things. Because at this point, the supply for the most part is out there. Now, for different farmers, that may not resonate with them, because the farmers who are at a wholesale scale that will service an institution are usually different than the farmers market farmers. So there is, a discussion to be had there. How do we support both types of farmers that want to do marketing? Once we can get our heads around that, for me, I firmly believe that we have to be looking at things that are going to increase the demand, get people buying more, get the institutions buying more, and price is usually going to be the factor. So are there enough farmers working at the scale that'll make sales be competitive for those institutions? Yeah, the other piece is when you get at that institutional level, I think people need to start thinking about what their definition of local is. A food system is not in a county. A food system is a food shed. It's going to be several counties. And for us in Northeast Iowa, we have to come to the metro areas in order just to have enough people to willing to purchase food. So for bigger institutions, that statewide definition is probably going to be where they need to be looking at how they develop their procurement plans.
Thanks, Teresa. Marlie, let's go over to you.
Yeah, I can jump in. So totally agree, Teresa. And I also feel like data and research have a huge role to play in helping to align supply and demand. So that's something that we're actively working on here in Chicago. I'll talk a little bit more about the good food purchasing policy that's been adopted by the city of Chicago and Cook County government. But the foundation of that policy is food purchasing data collection from all of the nutrition programs, institutional meal programs that the city and county run, so that we can understand what percentage of their spend is values aligned. So local, sustainable, healthy, fair, humane, and equitable. But beyond that, we can also understand trends in the data. What kinds of product specifications are being purchased across these different institutional settings? What are the most common, for like, just to pick on carrots for a second, are institutions purchasing carrot coins? Are they purchasing whole carrots? Are they purchasing canned carrots? Are they purchasing frozen carrots? Like, we can do that analysis with that data, and then we can understand, we can illuminate what the purchasing landscape looks like for more growers to understand what's currently being purchased. But more than that, we're not necessarily trying to have local growers replace what's currently being purchased. We're trying to have conversations with institutional buyers around like, okay, what's something that you can't get on the conventional market that may be a really good fit for local producers to provide you? Or, would you consider like you use carrot coins that are crinkle cut and your partner, partner institution over here uses a smooth carrot coin? Would you consider all using the same type of processed carrot coin so we can help this local processor, meet your volume needs in both places? So I think there's a huge role for that data, that in-depth data and research. And that's something that we had a chance to try out during my time in Wisconsin. We worked with a local farm and several local processors to develop a fresh cut broccoli product that then went into 60 school districts that were, testing that broccoli product out. And, we got those school districts to align their demand, and we were able to work with the farmer and the processors to kind of make all of those connections happen. We're starting to do similar work here in Chicago on that front, but it's really critical that we are employing our university partners to help us with that research. And then the other thing I'll just highlight, I'll talk a little bit more about relationship building, I think, later, but procurement reform is really important as well. So what we see in Chicago is over the last 40 years, there's been a lot of consolidation of consolidation of contracts that have resulted in really, really large volume needs. And all under like one contract with one food service management company that's only working with a handful of distributors, right? Because they're trying to capitalize on those economies of scale for, cheaper price points and keeping all of their price point, their, everything within their very measly budgets. So we're advocating for, how could we meet those economies of scale in different ways? How with technology and with cooperative food systems development, could we decentralize the way in which procurement happens now so that there's different contracts, more disaggregated contracts, and more food service providers in the system that may open up opportunities for smaller local growers to be able to actually feasibly enter into that supply chain. Because right now, there's just so many barriers with how consolidated and concentrated the institutional supply chain is. So I'm happy to answer more questions about that work, but definitely something that we're thinking about as we try to open up opportunities in farm to institution.
Thanks, Marlie. James, Teresa apparently stole your line. So I'm wondering if you have a response to Teresa or want to add to this question.
Well, yeah, I agree that there's, from my perspective, the supply is greater than the demand. And the one thing that I thought about is commitment from the institutional buyers to purchase, and at a set price. There is a goal of having the purchase prices be sustainable for the producers as well, which I appreciate. And there, I hate to, keep hammering on this, but, really local producers are up against a food production system that relies on a lot of foreign labor, and that's what, that's really why the food in the United States is so inexpensive. And so it's just a kind of a system that we have to deal with one way or another to come to, you know, prices that are equitable for the producer, and you know, that the customer, the institutions are able and willing to pay. But commitment from the institutions to, you know, purchase at a you know, at a sustainable price is definitely an issue. And of course, you know, it's going to be a step-by-step process to get production and, you know, economies of scale and price points, and, you know, supply and demand get that all working together. So, you know, it'll be a step-by-step process, I think.
Yeah, thanks, James. We're actually going to get to this question of equitable pricing in a moment, but Michael, would you like to respond to the question about supply and demand?
Yeah, Marlie talked a little bit about barriers, and then James talked about that step-by-step process. We can't, you know, as an institutional purchaser, and I've had this conversation before with people in local aspects. We want to make it work for us and for the producers as well. We understand that, you know, if we buy all of someone's crop in one swoop that will get us through a day of production, then they're out of the product and we have to go find it somewhere else. So we have to plan that in advance, which we do with the Food Hub, which is great. It's a real advantage of how we meet that supply and demand. But as far as barriers go, there's so many that people don't think about. We, you know, at the university, we have so many requirements for our vendors that it would be nearly impossible for the farmers to fill out the applications and do this and do that, and they have to prove insurance, and they have to do this, and they have to do all of that. And it's not efficient use of our time to do that with so many individual farmers. So those barriers come down so much when we have a place to do that through, that's all consolidated, and that work is already done and set up. Getting from so many different local farmers in one delivery, it's fantastic.
So thanks, Michael. That response and James's comment segue very nicely into the next question, which I'm actually going to turn over to Teresa, given her role with the Food Hub. But how do we get to the place where these contracts and these purchases ensure fair pricing for producers?
So everybody's idea of a fair price is different. And that's where the conflict comes. You know, I mentioned before how there's different sizes of farms, different scales of farms in the state. And understandably, smaller farms that have, they're doing more hand labor, more smaller scale, they aren't as mechanized, they're going to have higher costs than those farms who have scaled up, invested in those mechanical practices, and are making that, are committed to the volume that can have a lower price, which is going to be more attractive to an institution. So some of it is just helping farmers figure out where they fit and what where we can plug them in at the different levels into institutional buying. The hair on my neck always goes up a little bit when we talk about contracts, because I just feel like in the state, we're not ready to talk about contract production. I totally think we're ready to talk about contract purchasing. And in my mind, there's a distinction, because that is certainly a best practice for those institutions who are figuring out how to make local food work. And that simply is the standing orders. So finding food hubs or other local food system partners that can help and have regular weekly orders with them for certain products is where things ideally need to go, because that gives time for the producers to react. It gives the institutions are able to adjust. Now, are we going to be able to do all the products that an institution needs? No, we need to focus on what we can grow well in Iowa. But when we know that there's going to be 8 cases of eggs or 12 cases of apples going to an institution every week, as long as the season goes, we can make those transactions work. So it's more of the standing order, that purchase commitment, like James talked about, that I see is going to be a big piece of this. And then also helping institutions with procurement plans. We have people in the state, Giselle's one of them, that are trained to be procurement coaches specifically for schools, where those coaches will sit down with the school and write out a plan. So if they want to purchase $10,000 or $20,000 worth of local product every year, this is how we're going to do it. It's going to include, apples and yogurt and potatoes and those sorts of things, but it actually starts to formulate what that looks like. So I think that's another key piece that needs to continue to be supported and promoted.
Thanks, Teresa. Do any of our other panelists want to jump in on that?
I just want to say that I'm glad that you asked Teresa, because she gave a great answer.
You did so good. No one else wants to follow up, Teresa. So I'm going to ask a question specifically to Marlie now. Your work has really prioritized equity and inclusion. Will you share a bit about how you have done that and what impact it's had?
Sure. It actually does relate back to contracts as well. But here in the city of Chicago and Cook County, we've been working on, as I've mentioned a couple of times, something called the Good Food Purchasing Policy, which was adopted as a resolution back in 2017 with the city and 2018 with the county. So it's relatively new, but we did start supporting the Chicago Food Policy Action Council. We're a separate entity. We're a nonprofit entity that supports the local governments with implementation of this policy. So we started helping them implement back before the pandemic started. And as we were, as I mentioned, the first step in the Good Food Purchasing Policy implementation is assessing what does the current spend look like, to have a really good understanding of what percentage of total sales or total purchases that are made are actually investing in local food producers. What percentage of those are BIPOC growers, for example, Black and Brown, Indigenous, Latinx growers, people of color that are growing food in the system. Before GFPP, the Good Food Purchasing Policy, there was zero understanding of, what percentage of their food purchases were investing locally, investing equitably, zero understanding of how much, what percentage was sustainable, fair, supporting animal welfare, and not great metrics on the nutrition side. Of course, there's a lot for federally funded nutrition programs that they have to, adhere to nutrition standards, but not all institutions do. So, and there are other higher ed programs, especially in the higher ed space, that have similar assessment programs that they run. But for the public institutions we were working with, this was really the first time that they'd ever done this comprehensive assessment in any kind of in shedding any kind of light on these values that we care about. And so we've been developing action plans with them to figure out what are creative ways that they can start to shift that spend. And one of the first strategies involved is actually ensuring that when they go out to bid for food related contracts, that their good food purchasing program goals are embedded in those contracts, and that they are able to evaluate the bids for those contracts that come in based on that bidder's ability to meet good food purchasing program standards. So that's a huge piece of what we're doing. But as we shift demand, as we're working with all of these institutional partners on shifting demand, what we've recognized is that it's not necessarily enough to shift demand. We really need to be intentionally working on building a more racially equitable supply chain that can help ensure that as we're shifting demand towards these values-based, values-aligned products, that we are redistributing the profits of this food spend more equitably. And otherwise, we really run the risk of the same corporate actors in the food supply chain benefiting from this newfound demand. They, have already found very creative ways to maintain their contracts and continue to meet these demands, which is great. It still has this wonderful impact on our institutional food environments. There's, healthier, more sustainable products coming into the system, but we're not fundamentally changing the power dynamics or the control over our food system. And so it's really important that we're thinking about how can we actually open up the space in our institutional food systems for decentralizing control and power, which is, also just has led to these long, brittle supply chains in the first place that really can't withstand a lot of the pressures of supply chain disruption and climate change. So, it just is so critical that we're doing this work where we're really thinking about how we can support small growers, beginning growers, growers of color with understanding institutional sales, understanding the food safety requirements, understanding, how to build partnerships with local distributors, local food hubs, local processors, how they can build their own food hub infrastructure, and become, in Chicago, we have a program that certifies businesses in minority or women-owned or veteran-owned business enterprise. So how do they access that program so that they, can be recognized as a preference point in contracts, and then how are we also just I think it's also goes back to the relationship building piece. How are we convening spaces where BIPOC growers can talk with institutional food purchasers about what they're growing, what some of their constraints to scaling up are, what they would like to be growing for their local communities and some of the barriers that exist, and how they could be better partnering to feed their neighborhoods and community members through institutional settings. And there just historically has been very little space for that relationship building to take place. There really just hasn't been a platform for it. So that's something that we're trying to cultivate. We've piloted a buyer supplier mixer, what we called, here last December, and we're able to do it in person, got right in before the Omicron surge. And it was so incredibly valuable to have local growers talking with our institutional partners, and just about their needs, their barriers, their opportunities, their what they can provide, and it resulted in some really exciting conversations. So we are following that one up, that buyer supplier mixer up with a second buyer supplier mixer coming at the end of this month, June 24th, which will be virtual, and y'all are welcome to join. Or if you would like to come into Chicago for a visit, we'll be hosting it at Eden Place Farms in person on June 27th for a networking event that will complement our virtual workshop portion on Friday, June 24th. So I think that's, huge, is just how are we thinking about opening up opportunities for more equitable investment of institutional food dollars in our local economy. Okay, one more thing. I know I'm taking a lot of time up with this question, but it's really important. I think it's fundamental to this work and to the future of this work. We also, as we're working on menu transformation as well, we're talking a lot about this less meat, better meat strategy in order to meet reduce our carbon and water footprint of institutional food purchasing. We're talking about healthier meals and increasing, fresh produce and whole grains. And as we're doing that, menu transformation work, we're really cognizant that we need to center the experiences and the wants of meal program recipients in that effort, that they really need to be guiding that forward. And that local growers also have to be part of that conversation, so that as we are making these shifts, that they're culturally relevant, that they're really celebrating the community members, the families and students and senior citizens that are eating meals, and that food doesn't also go to waste, because nobody wants to eat some unfamiliar, not to pick on tofu, but a slab of tofu. We want to make sure that everybody is excited and gets to learn all about what the food that they're eating and has input into what's on their plate. So I think that's also just another critical piece of the work that we're trying to launch, is just more spaces for conversation and input and engagement from meal program recipients, food chain workers, and the local growers in our system.
Thank you, Marlie. I love that your answer to that included the buyer, supplier, and the eater, and how thinking about all of these actors are important to thinking about how we make our food system more equitable. We are running out of time for this conversation. I know we should have scheduled it to be 6 hours long, but unfortunately we did not do that. I'm going to go to Teresa for one audience question before getting to our closing question for everyone. So Teresa, we heard from Michael and from James that students are really driving some of their local food purchases and sales. So what can be done, or what is being done, to bring in more non-academic institutions like prisons, senior homes, other institutions into local purchasing?
So in most of those settings, the biggest barrier there is farmers. They require farmers to be GAP certified or have GAP food safety certification in order to become a vendor. Once they are able to meet that requirement, then sometimes it results in some conversations, but it also, this is a question that you guys skipped on the list of pre-questions that you gave. It ties back to what Giselle was presenting on earlier with the local protein and produce program, how they used emergency cares funding to help fund for schools. So when I started this work a decade ago, I just felt in my gut that there really wasn't a need for incentives, right? Schools should be able to afford $500 to buy local apples for their students. The price difference shouldn't be that much in order to make that work. But the longer I go through this, I can see where the incentives start to make sense. And especially when you start to do the perspective of all the other commodity crops in our state that are subsidized. So what would a subsidy look like to put some type of requirement or offer some type of incentive, like a 10 cent a meal program or a 10% purchase requirement for state agencies, that they have that procurement requirement to create that demand, and then the market can take over from there. The longer I'm in this, I do believe we need to see some type of state funding supporting schools as they do this purchasing. So it forces them to make the time to be able to utilize those funds and seek out farmers to partner with. There's lots of resources that can connect them and support them, but we need to just get them, get their heads turned to the local option so that those transactions can happen.
Thank you. Like so many things, that comes back to policy. And we did not get to our policy question, but we are going to go into small group discussions in a moment. So if you're more interested in that, please feel free to bring that into that discussion. But before we do that, panelists, I want to end on a positive note, an optimistic note. So where do you see the greatest hope for progress? And I'm going to start with Michael.
The greatest hope for progress that I've seen is just in the flexibility of, and I can only speak here locally over the past 2 years, but having the online farmers market come together so quickly when our community needed it the most. And it was valuable not only to customers, but it was really valuable to the producers too, to the tune of almost $500,000, I think, that was kept right here in our community. That gives me hope for people really getting it and seeing what a positive impact that a local sourcing and a local food chain, the impact that it has on a community.
Thanks, Michael. James, where do you see the greatest hope for progress?
What excites me is the demand that I see coming from the students.
Yeah, I loved hearing that from you and Michael at the beginning as well. Marlie, how about you?
Oh, I see it everywhere. So it's a hard question, but definitely youth of always. But I will also say we are seeing a renaissance in Chicago of worker-owned cooperative development in the food system space. And it's so exciting to see all of these cooperative businesses working cooperatively with each other, and cooperatively owned farms working with a cooperatively owned food service management company to provide local food for local schools. That this stuff is happening, and it's just really, really inspiring. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that down the road.
And Teresa, where do you see the greatest hope?
I don't know, maybe not the greatest hope, but where I'm watching and have my fingers crossed on where things are developing. The state legislature put out a local food task force report this last year. And I was a little lukewarm about what came out of that, but now we're starting to see some funds being put towards food system development, which I think is a big deal for our state. We need a lot more going into those programs, but at least things are getting started. The other thing that is going to be a heck of a ride is going to be the USDA, Lfpa, and LFS funds that are coming into the state this fall. So Lfpa, every state's getting a pot of money. So this is going to be millions of dollars coming to our state specifically to buy local food from socially disadvantaged farms, actually any Iowa farm that we can buy. I think there's enough money there that we're going to really make an impact. Those funds are going to force us to build networks and figure out how we're going to do this distribution piece. Even if it is just for the short term, I think the long-term impact of that investment is going to teach us a lot. And hopefully it's going to catapult us to this next level where we're going to know a lot more to try and tackle this institutional piece.
Thank you, Teresa. So the conversation is not over. We're going to go into small groups now, and I'm going to turn it over to Giselle so she can talk more about what that's going to look like.
Okay. Hannah, I still have you pinned on my screen. I just want to say thank you so much, Hannah, for being an amazing facilitator of that panel. And thank you to all of our panelists. We talked about with food systems, it's all about relationships. And I just feel so grateful to be in relationship with all of these panelists. And that is what brings me the most hope. You all are my people, and thank you for all of the work that you do every day and for shaping our food system. Yeah, I'm really grateful for this event. So I'm excited for our attendees to get more time with all of you. And we are going to go over a few group agreements. Like with any discussion, we want to make this inviting and welcoming and safe space for everybody. So it's important to enter in with some ideas that we're all learning. We're all teachers, but we're all here to learn. Change serves as an opportunity. So being open to change and being open to new ideas. Active listening. So if someone's speaking, make it a point to listen and not interrupt. Make space, take space. So if you're speaking a lot in the group, try to step back. If you're somebody who tends to be quiet, step up and ask a question. Don't be shy. And then expect and accept non-closure. We're talking about large scale food system change. We're not going to figure this all out today, and that's okay. So our discussion theme for our small groups is going to center around this central question, which is, how can we increase sales to institutions in Johnson County? Now, I know we have folks from all over the state. Teresa's calling in from Northeast Iowa. We've got Marlie calling in from Chicago, but since we are the Johnson County Food Policy Council, it would be great to come out with some policy ideas or connections that we could work with in this county. To dive a little bit deeper, you can dive into what policies specifically, what kind of community investment, and what kind of strategic partnerships do we need to increase those sales? So some of those mechanisms for answering that bigger question. So without further ado, we are going to break out into rooms. Now, the way that you can do this is if you are in Zoom, you're going to see breakout rooms that are going to look like that. What's in that red box there? Just 4 rectangles in a square, and you'll click on it. And then there'll be breakout rooms that drop down in a menu, and you can choose the room that you want to join. Now, a note for our Food Policy Council folks. Here is who is going to be in each room. In James Nisly's room, Will, you are going to be facilitating, and Will, you're going to be our note taker. And then in Marlie's room, Hannah, you're facilitating, and Deborah, you're going to be our note taker. In Michael Graham, I get the pleasure to facilitate, and our note taker is Mike. And then for Teresa's breakout room, Debbie, you are going to facilitate, and Joe is going to take notes. So when you go in, be sure to just think of the top 2 takeaways that you'd like to share back out with the group at the end. And we'll wrap it up that way. So Ilsa, did I miss anything?
No, so the only thing is that I have, I think 1 panelist assigned to each room. I forget if you said that or not. And so you'll be able to select the room, which will be named with each panelist. I've already pre-assigned panelists and our Food Policy Council facilitators for today to their respective rooms, but everyone else, you'll be able to select which room you'd like to participate in. We'll have about 20 minutes for our breakout group discussions. I'll give you a 2 or 3 minute warning and a 1 minute warning to wrap up conversations. And our note takers for today will be the ones highlighting at the end of the meeting. Initially, we'll go around and hear from the note taker from each room. And then if there's time, we can do more large group discussion. Are there any questions at this point? If not, I'm going to open up the rooms.
As were we, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to say.
Are we toaster? We're back to normal again? Oh, we got some new people.
Yep, I think we're back in the main room.
Are we done
Back,
now?
everyone? All right. Well, we are going to share out from the folks who took notes in the various groups and try to keep it to 2, 3 if you have to of some of the main points. And please share which panelist you got a chance to have a conversation with. So we're going to start with Will.
Okay, I'm the note taker. We really enjoyed James talk about what he does, and he offers a lot of stuff, and he's having trouble with people who afford local food, buy it, make local food affordable. Even Janice gave us some good questions about that. Will gave a good understanding of what the Fur Farm is doing, and James just does a lot all over.
Yeah. As you notice, James is doing 2 jobs at least right now in his car as a panelist. James, you're amazing. Don't know how you do it. Thank you for taking notes, Bill, and for sharing out some of those takeaways. Joe, do you want to go next?
Yes. So I was in the breakout room with Teresa, and the first question, how can we increase sales to institutions in Johnson County? And Teresa was talking about some of the things that they've done up in Northeast Iowa in terms of places like Luther College, getting in connection with the students, like what we were talking about at the beginning on the panel. Students are interested in their environmental sustainability groups that can help with those internal connections to staff that are in the food service of those institutions. So that's just one example that she gave. She also touched on how important food hubs are and the connection between food hubs and how food hubs can support one another. The hub-to-hub concept and the hub-to-hub network, and where food hubs can help facilitate where food can go at different times of the year. If one food hub has something that the other doesn't, that connection can be very powerful, and vice versa. Just more working together in those relationships are really important, Teresa was saying. And we were then ending the call, we got cut off when we were talking about how farmers just want to grow food and not do the paperwork if they don't have to. If farmers are good at growing food, then they should be able to focus on that. Jeff was on our call, and he is the owner of 6 Acre Farms and does eggs and chickens, and he is certified to sell to institutions. They have the certifications, but it's just a lot of paperwork. And if there were middle processes like a food hub that could help with the facilitation of that, then Jeff and his family and the chickens can just make food, and the institutions can buy the food easily, and then having the food hub in the middle or whatever entity it is to help with that is very valuable. So that's all I've got.
Interesting.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. For the next group, we had Debbie.
Hi, Giselle.
Oh, it was Deborah, not Debbie. Thank you, Deborah.
Yeah, Deborah here. Okay. So we had a
I
couple
like
of
John's
things.
question.
Assessment,
Sorry.
I would say, is one, and transparency the other. So in regards to assessment, it came up, has there been an assessment of the institutional landscape in Johnson County? For example, has there been a collective, what is the collective purchasing power overall in our county? For example, senior living facilities, schools, and such. Assessment could also be used in another way, like in terms of maybe piloting a good food purchasing program assessment. The good food purchasing program is one of the lead certifiers in the food world. So that would be pretty neat to have a partner and measure that and report out to the public in terms of assessments. In terms of transparency, well, that's, kind of course, transparent is a necessity to line the demand and to show that, some of these contracts haven't had the food purchasing data become proprietary. In other words, that data can be seen readily. So we had some good links shared out to us by Marlie. Thanks.
Thank you, Deborah. Okay, so I am the last person to share out. And we were in a group with Michael Graham at the University of Iowa. And we had some questions, really good questions about just how do we get more institutions to be purchasing in the way that the University of Iowa is doing. And he used the term guilt by association and the knowledge sharing and the network that comes through literally the associations for higher ed and the folks that are purchasing for colleges and universities. But anybody who's doing this large institutional purchasing is going to have a certain level of trust and reverence for the voices of their colleagues. So similar, I mean, we didn't talk about this specifically, but similar to kind of what Marlie was saying of, can you do these meetups of connecting producers with buyers, but also just having the meetups of these buyers themselves and the partnerships that they have with producers and the partnerships that they have established with hubs and already have that trust and already have that established to be able to share with one another. So Michael Graham, putting you on the spot because he volunteered to be an advocate for this. So we're going to be connecting you with hospitals and prisons and retirement communities, and we'll keep your volunteer hours full. And then the other thing that we talked a lot about was processing and just the enormous amount of challenges that food service directors and institutional purchasers have had over the last 2 years with COVID, with the supply chain breakdowns and with global food supply just not being available in the way that it used to be in 2019 and not as reliable and not as flexible. So needing more that paired with labor. I think we might have used the word labor 18 times. Labor shortages, labor is an issue. Having labor in the kitchens is challenging. People don't have enough labor. And so this inherently then makes it challenging to do some of that processing too. So we talked a lot about processing. And I think we all know that there's this issue across the state of who's doing local processing. And I know James is piloting some local processing right now in-house, and the food hubs are certainly talking about this, but this is a need that we identified, especially because of the supply chain issues and especially because of the labor issues that we're experiencing right now. So we wanted to keep talking. I hope everybody had that feeling, because that's the sign of a really fruitful discussion. But I know that we are coming up on time. So we have some notes here. This presentation is being recorded. So if you ever want to revisit these notes or revisit the conversations that we had, please do that. I just want to take a minute. Again, thank you all for taking time out of your schedule. Thank you to farmers who are here. This is an extremely, extremely busy time for people who grow and produce food in our state in June. So thank you for taking the time to be here with us. Thank you to our panelists for sharing your knowledge and wisdom and expertise. This has been an amazing discussion. We want to continue it as always. This is always the beginning of a conversation. You are welcome to reach out to Ilsa, our Johnson County Local Food Coordinator Extraordinaire, via email or phone. You can also reach out to me. Don't use that Gmail address, it's full. And you can also join our email list. So we meet once a month and our meetings are live streamed. So you can always keep up to date with what the Johnson County Food Policy Council is talking about. Our next meeting is Monday, June 27th at 6 p.m. If you visit our website, which maybe Cassidy or someone can help me out and put it one more time in the chat box. If you're in Johnson County and you're interested in joining the council, or you know anyone who would be a good fit for the council, please apply. We're accepting applications through June 13th. Last but not least, we have a survey here. It's in the chat box, and we would really, really appreciate it if you shared your feedback with us so that we can learn how to make our events more meaningful, understand how this event was helpful, and how we can keep on building events that help us learn together about how to build a stronger food system. It's a brief survey, shouldn't take you too long. You could even do it right now. We have 3 minutes until the hour. So just pull it up in your browser. Let's see here. I have other thoughts, but does anyone else from the council have any closing thoughts?
Giselle, I just want to thank you and Ilsa and Hannah and Cassidy and James and Marlie and Michael and Teresa and everybody who helped facilitate tonight. It's been a good conversation, and I mean, this is just exactly the sort of thing that we have the Food Policy Council for. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, John. Thanks for being our liaison. Keep rocking the cowboy hat. All right, we've got 2 minutes until the hour. I will open it up if any of our panelists have any closing thoughts.
I'll just close by saying thanks for the invitation to be a part of this. This was great. I love to be able to talk about this and learn from other people as well. What's working for them, what they're struggling with. I think there's great opportunity between, you know, buyers and users and customers and producers and everyone else to just listen to each other and see how it can be better for everyone. So thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
And I'll say thanks to everyone as well, and super appreciate this opportunity, and it's exciting to see everyone working together, and I'm hopeful to see more celebrations of celebration events that or events that celebrate local sustainably produced food, community food.
Sounds like a potluck is in order for our next meeting.
Sounds good.
We'll send the invites out. All right. Well, on that note, thank you all again for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.